All right, we're back, and it is COMP229. That's Advanced Web Application Development here at Centennial, and it's the fall 2016 semester. We are at week 12, part 1 of our broadcast. And today I want to do a bit of some different things. Okay, so here's what we're going to do today. 1, let's talk about the final exam, right? So my thinking is you more or less, shy of 9%, I'll tell you right now, have everything you need, right? So shy of 9%. I'm saying, in terms of everything else. So I could get you to write an exam for 9%, right? Which doesn't make any sense to me for you to come in for 9%. Or I could take the marks that I'm going to give you and spread them out a little bit more, so your total class will be out of 91, right? So what works is that some of the other assignments you already have will be weighted a little bit more. That's what's going to happen, right? So it'll be, each one will be roughly 10% more in weight. So example, an assignment that cost, it was worth 10 marks, it'll be worth 11. Right? An assignment that's worth 15 marks will be worth a mark and 1.5 more, so 16.5. Right? That's what will happen, right? Approximately to your marks. And then no exam. That's one option, right? Option 2, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put this up on Slack. So we're going to go to Slack. And here's the poll that I'm going to put up on Slack when it comes up, right? I'm going to do something like this. And we're going to go to COMP229 for a second, right? So the poll is going to be like this. And I want the majority people, right? If it's, you know, if I don't get a lot, I'm not going to do it right away. Like, hopefully that people can give me the answer as soon as possible. But for an example is, yeah, I'm going to upload the recorded version one day. Let's get to it. But first of all, let's do a poll, right? And I'll say, you know, should we or have a final exam, right? Should we have a final exam, right? That's the first thing. And option 1 is, yes, please have a final exam. Please have a final exam, or please host a final exam. Final exam, right? You know, that's option 1. I'm trying to be equal as possible. No, I'm happy spreading out the marks, right? And I'll put the other one up there. I'll say, I don't know, right? That's the other thing I'll say. I don't know. I need more information, right? Because maybe some people don't understand what's going to happen with the marks. But here's what I can promise you. I'm going to put the poll up now, right? So and I want to try and influence you, you know, in no way. I want you kind of to have your own thoughts about this. And it's not anonymous. When you put, by the way, I have to warn you that this is not anonymous. Once you put up your numbers here, I'll know who wanted it and who didn't, right? Because if I hover over, like number 2, which is no, I'm happy without anything, I can see who did it. Please, you know, be aware of that. It says 111 because when you put these up in the first place, they automatically give 1 to everything. So I'm not biased. That's what it does, right? So there isn't, you know, kind of a sway of one over the other, right? But what if you're unhappy? What if you really think that there should be an exam because you want, you know, to be, you want to have some stuff? There might be some people that decide that say, you know, I don't know, I'm not happy, I don't need more information. Because the reason I put more information up there, because there might be someone who's not really clear on how it's going to work, right? So please don't feel that you're pressured. I don't want to pressure you, but I think we have almost enough. It's almost like as if I give you guys a test today, right? It would be like 9%, right? So now here's what I'm also going to offer you. Even if we don't have a final exam, I'm still going to come here on that night, all right? And I'll tell you why, right? Because sometimes people may need it, some kind of work. They're going to hand in their final project, right? And what I'm going to offer you is a chance for us to be together anyway if you require any kind of additional assistance for your project. So you can use it as a work period. You can use it as me giving you some feedback one-on-one if you want that kind of stuff. I will be here for the time frame. I'm not going to skip not doing the exam, like not being here. That's not what I'm here for, right? I want to offer my services to you for that day to make sure that your final project is working. We can work together on those kinds of things and to deal with any issues. That I will do, right? But for us to do an additional exam, for me to torture you, I just don't see how that's going to make anything, how that's going to prove anything to me, right? So again, I can see how this is trending. And I knew this would probably be something like that would be like, but what I want to tell you is please don't feel influenced. I'm not trying to tell you that, you know, if you don't want it or whatever. If you, for example, let's say you don't want your marks spread over your assignments or whatever. That might be one of the reasons why you decide not to do this, right? it's perfectly understandable, because that means each of your marks are going to be rated slightly higher than if they would normally be, right? Just putting it out there, right? So when you see the regrading, the distribution of weights, you're going to see some marks go up by 1.5 marks or something like that. So be aware that that's going to happen, right? That's how I'm going to figure it out, right? So just, please be aware of this. I don't want you to feel influenced one way or the other. Okay. So I'm going to leave this up for a bit. We'll see how the numbers come out. Now, there's not a lot of people here in the room. I'm hoping that people at home who are watching remotely can also do the same thing. I think the advantage for you guys, if I was going to talk about this in a positive way, is it gives you a chance to study for the other 5 exams you might have, right? Or 4 exams, or whatever, however many courses you're taking. I think that's an advantage for you. Let's also talk about the disadvantages. I think the disadvantages, like I said, that each of your assignments will be weighted slightly heavier. So about 1 mark to 1.5 marks for each of your assignments, roughly, right? If it was the way it was, right? So just putting it out there, because remember, we have lots of parts. We have part 1, part 2, part 3 of this one. We have, part 1, part 2 of the other ones, all those kinds of things. And we might get to the point where you might think that, it's going to make it undoable. I'm going to come back to this right now. I'm going to leave it because I don't want to talk too much more about this. But please don't feel influenced one way or the other. I will do what you ask me to do. I'm your professor. You pay for me to be here to teach you, to make sure that you're successful, right? But I think at this point, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I can drag more out of you in terms of the stuff that has to happen, right? So I don't know what those little faces are, right? Is that a good face or a bad face? I don't know, right? Is that a happy face? That's a happy face? Okay, good. So you guys can do that. I can put a happy face too. Maybe I'll put some kind of weird, the graphic too. Let's see if I pick one just as a response, right? Just because we're all using emojis right here. I'll put my tongue out, right? Because that's the kind of thing that I like, right? So we'll see what happens. It might be happy days for everybody. Some people may not like it. Some people may really feel like, I don't understand why we would do this. It's kind of a little bit less structured, Tom. By the way, I've gotten these kind of comments in the past where I'm not really confident that this is the right direction. I really want to be tested so I know that I know what I'm doing. Okay, that's fine. I will do what you asked me to do, right? Because remember, I work for you, right? But at the end of the day, I really believe that, after you've done your final project and you've already done your midterm for your web forms, by the way, that's 90% of what they're doing in the other classes, then I don't see how you're getting anything less from me than what you would normally get. So that's just me. But again, please don't feel influenced. Do what you want to do. Decide how you feel. I'm not going to take it personally if everyone wants to. Okay, I don't know what that is. Everyone wants, to do their exam. I'm perfectly fine with it. And I'm not going to be mad either way. Okay, I will do it. But remember that next week, just to recap, next week there is no class. Okay, because it's a work period for next week. I will not be physically here, right? But I encourage you to come in. The class will be open for you. I think it's a good opportunity for you to get together with your teams, although I really do know the chances are no one's going to come, right? I know people's human nature is not going to come. I do encourage you to get together. It's a great place to get together. You have the whole lab open to do your thing, right? To bang things out and get things done. It's hours that are given up to you so you can do this work, right? Although I'm sure there's other things that you think are more pressing. There's no other thing more pressing. I'm not going to be lighter on your requirements, right? Because you have lots of time. So please don't forget that next week is a work week that I will not be here. The final exam time, I will be here. Just to recap, I will be here right now, unless other people say different. There will be no physical exam, right? So what happens if no one shows up the last week? It's okay. I'm going to wait around for an hour or two, and if no one comes, then Merry Christmas. Yeah.
If you do show up, can
yeah.
we have like an extra lesson?
Okay, so the question is for people who are watching on TV, on Apple TV, right? The people who are watching Apple TV, sorry, or watching remotely from home. It's now or never. It's yes. If you want me to show you something else, and if there's a small group of people who want to show you something else, then I can certainly go into some other details, right? I mean, I'm here anyway, right? So I don't mind showing you something else that you want, but I would encourage you over the next week or so to think about what you want to learn, right? So then I can prepare something. So I don't come here and we're like, okay, let's take a look at Google, right? I don't want that. right? So we can talk about those things. Like for example, if you want to learn AngularJS in the last day, we can talk about Angular. I can talk about Node a little bit as well. So something in advanced web, but not necessarily ASP.NET. We can talk about how to set up Node, how to do all that kind of stuff, and prepare you for some of your other classes in the future. We can do that, right? I have no problem doing a lesson like that, and I love Node.js, and JavaScript in general. We can talk about TypeScript a little bit more, right? And how it blends in with, I know you don't like TypeScript, but it blends in nicely with Node and AngularJS, and you'd have to learn TypeScript too to understand AngularJS too, right? So those are the things we'd have to talk about over the next little while. So if you're interested in doing Angular and how to combine that with maybe ASP.NET on the back end, I can totally do that, right? But it would be a bonus core, material that you wouldn't have to really come in for. And I'll still record it. If we do it for you, I record it for everybody, right? Anyone else have any questions or concerns about the final exam, right? Again, the option is, if you don't want a final exam, we can absorb the marks. Yes, I know, I haven't seen you in a long time, but I still love you. Anyways, and we can talk about that because, and the reason for this is because, again, I don't want to make it so crazy, right? So I'm going to stop the video right now. I want to let everyone do what they're going to do. So I'm not going to hover over this right now. And all this will be just logistics for next week. But then I'll start another video with the actual work that we're going to do today. Okay? So if anyone has any questions, Slack is a good place to put it up. I just want to put up their questions on Slack, so you're not recorded, because that's kind of mean, right? So let me stop recording now, and I'll take some questions. This is the perfect opportunity. Now, just before I stop, how is the recording? Is it better? Is anyone checking? Right? Because if it's not a good recording, then this is all the work we did was wasted. Is it okay? Like I said, it's when we're plugged in, chances are you're going to hear me. There's going to be probably a bit of a delay, right? Because of just the latency involved, but otherwise you should be fairly good, right? Here's what I want. I'm not going to change anything. There will be a final exam unless this number over here under the 2 side, because right now we have 43 people in the course, or 40 somewhat people in the course, right? And if I only have 14 people that don't want an exam, that's like less than half. So this has got to climb to at least 22 or 23 people. Okay, if I don't see 22 or 23 people saying I don't want an exam, it's going to happen. Okay, just letting you know. I need the majority of the class saying no, right, before it's going to happen, right? Because it's fair. Yeah. Are you saying that other students don't check Slack? I could do that, but I prefer not. I prefer not is the answer, right? So I could also put it up on an online poll, but I think that's also bad, right? So let's leave it as is right now, and I'd like to see if people have any more opportunity. There's 14 people that say no. It's not enough. I need at least another 8 or 9 people to say no, right? If 8 or 9 people say no, no exam, right? Okay, so we'll go from there. So let me stop recording now, and so it's okay, recording. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about other things.